Hey there, good morning. It is November 9th. It is 9 a.m. exactly. It's Sunday morning. And so, I woke up this morning and I stayed in bed for a little bit longer. And because, I just feel like I'm just tired of this routine. I'm thinking about the week ahead and I'm like, I hate these people for ruining my routine. Like, I want to get up every day and go to work and have a regular routine, and I'm constantly trying to, fix the problems that they created. And obviously, by, me understanding and getting the intuitive messages from how their attitude is, it's just like, it's a nightmare. So I woke up this morning, I was already in a bad mood because I have to think about the week ahead, me sitting at home. I'm tired of being at home. Okay. So I approached my son and talked about, my frustrations and my distrust for the Collins family. I have absolutely no trust for them whatsoever. So, I mentioned to my son that I do believe that they are the ones who are responsible for him moving into my house. I do believe that they, as well as the illegal operation of the community that assisted them. I also know that they have been trying to apply menticide tactics on me to try to force me to commit suicide and to try to change my life. They have done this in several ways. I know that my son's last employer had brought over some canned goods. I do not eat canned goods. I don't eat, commodity type food, okay? And it's not about being a snob, it's the fact that it doesn't have any nutritional value. So I do believe that they had something to do with the SNAP benefits as well. And like I said, I have not done any intuitive reading on this whole thing as a whole, but I do believe there's certain organizations that are getting together to attack people who live good lives, okay? And so this is what's going on. Is I do believe it's going on in the country. So this morning I woke up and I'm tired of dealing with me not having a job, them trying to, prevent me from taking care of my body with proper nutrition. I have stomach problems. I've had like acid reflux since I was a kid, and I know how to take care of it. I obviously don't go to the doctor for, obvious reasons. I don't go to doctors because I've been a victim of bloodline targeting. So I basically told my son this morning, I want him to take legal action against the Collins family. And I know just by his behavior, he got very jittery, very upset, and he's very frustrated. Okay. He's not saying anything, and I would never want to put that kind of pressure on him. But he needs to understand that he needs to be very careful about what he says about to me and what he does. Okay. Because there's certain things that I feel are red flags that these people are creating problems for me, and I'm not going to deal with it. Okay. I will not touch one of those canned goods in my thing. I have no intentions of going to any food bank. Okay, the reason why is I know that they do not have anything nutritious to offer at the food banks. So basically, there is a silent genocide program going on, not just with me, but a lot of other people who are considered to be targeted individuals. They've created nothing but problems when it comes to my work life. I want these people to understand they are not welcome in my life whatsoever. The intuitive message I'm getting is that they were trying to prevent me from shopping and buying things for myself. Okay, so they try to. That is none of their business, especially since I'm not their family. I'm not their family. Okay, and they did something about raising issues relating to I don't know. I don't keep track of the message that's coming through my mind is something about Prop 50. I don't know anything about. I do not vote. Okay, I don't know vote. So just yesterday, I talked about me seeing a video on, Obama was talking about the voting system and stuff like that. And like I said, I have no idea of how they make sure that votes are actually getting counted. Okay, all I know is I'm somebody who has a very basic life. It's a straight shot. I go to work, I come home. And as far as how I'm defined as a woman, I have special circumstances. And this is what I'm talking about. How people bully up on people who are basically in situations that were beyond their control. Like, I did not ask to be a clone. I did not ask to, have all of this on me and be surrounded by people who were indoctrinated by crooked church, beliefs, saying things about me and my background and who I was and painting me out to be this was actually worldwide with this church indoctrination. So I'm a special case. You best believe I'm going to be very reserved about who comes into my life. I'm going to be that way. So the intuitive message I'm getting right now is something about my father is going to be with me for the rest forever. Yes, I mean James Gordon and I, we are spirit travelers. We always be together. So at the end of my life, that's exactly where I plan to go. I plan on being in with my father for eternity. You know what I mean? And so, but until that time, I'm going to continue to live, and I'm going to continue to live to my best ability. So my son just came back in, and I know that he was very frustrated when I was talking to him this morning because I'm aware that what the Collins did was they influenced people like at the time. I think it was when this all started. I'm assuming was probably when Biden was in office, and I do understand that Trump was also aware of what these people have done. I know that it was highly encouraged by my brother. My family should have never interfered with my relationship with Bruce. I was over the age of 18 and it was done. Okay. I am tired of paying the consequence for these people and their social intrusion. These people had right no right, okay? Not at all, okay? So maybe they didn't tell Trump the entire story, okay? Maybe they didn't tell Trump the entire story. Something about me, okay, this is I'm picking up a message from Trump, okay? This is about me being recognized as royal and angelic. And then also something about me enjoying my best life. I will tell you, it's very difficult to enjoy my best life when these people are creating problems for me. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not feel happy when I wake up in the morning, President Trump. I don't. I woke up this morning the same way I woke up last morning. Okay, I want to go to work. I want my life back. Okay, that's all I want. I don't care. I know I'm not, I'm tired of being at home. I'm tired of people, making decisions for me when they're not supposed to. Okay. The only thing I care about is getting my life back together. I want a routine. Okay. I don't know whose lame brain idea it was for them to think that, oh, she needs to stay at home. And then, like, I have no idea. Okay. And it really doesn't matter at this point. But I'm tired of being at home. I'm tired of looking at my son, being the one who's supposed to be taking care of everything. For my son to take care of me is my worst nightmare. That is my worst nightmare. You know why? Because, like I said, I'm somebody who had vision. I'm somebody who never wanted my son to suffer or have to sit here and try to make any sort of sacrifices in his life to take care of me, right? Because I understand I want my son to be happy. I want my son to be happy. So something about my father and something about me and having the ability to, yeah, I have wished people to their death. You know why? Because some of these people have caused me psychological harm, deep psychological harm. Okay, they have made it so that my life has become very difficult, and my life is of no value unless, of course, I'm an active person and I choose to live an active life. Okay, it's not that it's not what they envision. Oh, maybe they are somebody there's a lot of people who if they could just stay home the time or take a long vacation or whatever, that's great for them. I am not one of those people. So the message going back to me about having the ability to get rid of people, like, because I know I've wished some serious people dead before, okay? And I know that some of these people have been gone, right? If it got to be too serious, I am not in any way trying to attack, President Trump. I would never even imply this, okay? But this situation, what these people caused, is not acceptable. And I do understand that a lot of it had to do with this religious idea of promoting religious standards and religious values. I just did a video a couple days ago, or was it? Yeah, a couple days ago. I don't even remember. I was talking about the Ten Commandments versus secular law. Okay, these people were not abiding by anything. Okay, these are just criminal people. Period. Okay, so yes, I'm glad that you acknowledge the fact that I do live peacefully, joyously, and free. Meaning, like, I don't need somebody to crack my head open or try to make me be a decent person. I don't need somebody to try to, some people need to constantly be reminded to do the right thing or, something like that. I am somebody who minds my own business. I don't do anything that's going to affect anyone else's life other than mine. Okay. And I'm the one who sits here and suffers for it. Okay. So I woke up in a very bad mood this morning. The first thing I did was, I went to my son and I told him, look, I want to make sure that I get my money back. I do not really appreciate these people. And do I believe that there's some sort of manipulation going on with my funds or my son's funds? That's his money, right? I cannot help but be suspicious of that. Okay. I do not trust these people. So the intuitive message I'm getting right now is is that there's a lot of, I suspect it. Okay, I remember getting some readings yesterday that there was some sort of crappy stuff or suspicious stuff going on in my son's bank. Okay, and like I don't want to know for sure, but whatever is going on, it needs to disappear. Okay, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, my son coming home and he understands. Like when I say I want my money back at a certain time, he knows that I want it back at a certain time and he knows why. because I have not made it, I have made it very clear that there has been people in this community that has created problems for me, and now I'm identifying who did it, who's the originator of it. The originator is Rashawn Gordon, Bruce Collins, his family, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I already told him. So I mentioned to my son this morning, and I know he was getting a little bit jittery and upset. He didn't feel comfortable with me talking about it. But the point of the matter is, if my son needs to take these people to court, he needs to take them to court. Okay, because I am tired about this of this, and the reason why they were trying to obstruct my life is because something about me having the ability to perform magic. I will tell you, when it comes to anything that relates to communicating with God, prayer is the same as magic. It is the exact same thing. So since they have the ability to pray, and every church encourages their members to pray, at least I hope they do, okay, then they have no reason to sit here and point the finger at me. The only reason why they are concerned about my me performing magic is because they probably have witnessed some of these people that they associate end up dead. Okay, and the reason why they ended up dead is because they were trying to create problems for me. And they also have this sort of resentment. The Collins resent me because my brand, meaning my Swan Song Manifesto newsletter, as well as all the creations, all belong to me. Okay, so this is the reason why, and I have no reason to sit here and merge forces with these people. They are not my family. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is, of course, I am going. Yeah, they were attacking my clothes and everything else. And so they had other people in this community try to harass me for who I am on their behalf. And then we have these moronic people who want to sit here and defend these monsters, and they attack the innocent person. So I'm supposed to sit here and be friends with these people? I don't think so. The intuitive message I'm getting is I have proven so much in my experience, and people are more than impressed. Meaning, like, and I told these people from the very beginning in 2015, this should not happen. Okay, so now we have Terry, the Collins family has created all of this problem, right? And they act as if, oh, she doesn't deserve any compensation. It's important that I tap into Donald Trump right now. Okay, I do appreciate the fact that you see me as an elegant person. This is what you think. You also think that you believe that I have the divine right to kill anybody. I'm glad that you acknowledge that. Okay, but I make sure that I use this power wisely, and I don't sit here and try to, like, focus on people to do this sort of thing. But I know that a lot of people have attacked me, including Rex Laverne. Okay, he was a two-faced person. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that, yes, these women in this community, Donald Trump, okay, there's women, I would say there's men too, okay, but a lot of these women are obese. Okay, I'm not trying to be mean, but they are obese. Okay, I've been attacked by a lot of obese women who are not happy with themselves. I'm not responsible for them not taking care of their bodies. I'm not responsible. I know in school, like, even going back to grade school, they would talk about things like nutrition. Okay, and I know in high school they talk about this sort of stuff in classes like anatomy, biology, and they definitely talk about it in college. So they should have known something about nutrition or whatever. They chose this life themselves. Okay, so they expect me to sit here and be punished for what they chose to do. Okay, I'm not responsible for other people's problems. So I understand that there's an issue with the SNAP issue. Okay, and with all due respect, Donald Trump, I don't really, and just off the bat, I do not believe. Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't believe. I know that there's issues with budgets and there's always a financial issue. Okay, but at the same time, I don't believe the SNAP bullshit. I don't believe it. Sorry. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I proved Christians to be stupid, arrogant, and criminal, and that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are. Okay, and I don't want to paint everybody out to be that way, because I'm sure there might be some Christian women or men who have a sincere, a relationship with God, and they just so happen to belong to a Christian church. Okay, but with this operation thing that's going on right now, these people may have tricked you into doing something that you should not have done. And this is what I'm telling you. Okay, is that you need to be careful about the initiatives that you take, because not everybody has good intentions. Okay, and so they might be bringing up stuff, and we say making it religious sometimes makes people feel obligated to participate in it. Why? Because they understand that it could create social pressure and other people expecting you to do these sort of things or whatever. I'm just going to warn you going forward, and this is something you need to be very careful of. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that, yes, I have reset time for opportunities and managed to create satisfaction in others. So I'm absolving you from this debacle, okay, to a certain extent. Meaning, like, I'm not going to sit here and think ill of you. I don't want to think ill of you, Donald Trump, Mr. President Trump. But at the same time, I understand that, a lot of leaders have made themselves a little bit too available on things like social media. Okay, they do. Okay, like I said in one of my other videos, when I was growing up, I wrote a letter to Ronald Reagan. Okay, and I ended up getting like a little form letter. Okay, and I'm just saying is it's like you're up here and all the people here are down here and they should, like you're easily accessible to people and you need to be careful about who you take instructions from. Okay, so I know that there's usually a committee that you supposed. I mean, this is how the chain of command is. Just be careful about the initiatives that you take. Okay, but anyway, so going back to me, okay, and my frustration about what's going on this morning and how I woke up because I'm tired of waking up feeling like the country is basically gone to hell because that's basically how I feel that way. Okay, because I feel as though cutting off people's SNAP benefits. Okay, and this is very important. Okay, cutting off people's SNAP benefits is one of the biggest demoralizers that has ever happened in the country. It makes people feel, okay, as if this is a third world country. To tell people to go to food banks, so the lines would be ridiculous. I mean, and people need food. This is essential, okay? So I don't know. It seems as though these people have taken on, and and like I said, maybe it is about budgets, okay? But to even consider the idea of thinking that it's okay to cut people out of food benefits, where I'm going to tell you right now, President Trump, a lot of these people who are hanging on for their lives, trying to make ends meet, are being pushed out of employment sectors by the same people who do these sort of things. So it's a genocide plot. Okay, you're pushing. I mean, not you, okay, President Trump, but what is encouraged by these so-called Christian people is they are picking and choosing who lives, and they are not in any righteous position to make that decision. Okay, so when I see things, I mean, everything in the news, how as far as I'm concerned, I don't like watching it because I don't feel as though there's anything worth listening to. And the reason why is because it's all dark. It's all dark. Okay, everything from and I'm not somebody who knows much about the ICE raids or anything like that because it's not in my vicinity. But even that's dark. And I ask you to sit here and question that as well. Why? Because there's a lot of people who may have bad intentions. And yes, I do understand when it comes to people coming over here illegally. I get it. Okay, I get it. I understand that. Okay, but it's the fact that these ICE raids are constant. It's just negative. Okay, our country feels like it's chaotic, and I do believe that perhaps maybe these ICE raids could not necessarily be initiated because it's really about trying to make the country more in line or uniform. It could very well be some people with some sort of vendetta. You know what I mean? And doing things for the right reasons instead of whatever. Okay. And I am going to say, when it comes to, and I'm being upfront with you, Donald Trump. Okay. Really, because honestly, I do like you. I do like you. Okay. So I want to be upfront with you. Okay. But our country feels like it's falling apart. Okay. It feels like it's falling apart. Like I'm so disengaged from my own country. I feel so disconnected from my own country. I don't recognize it anymore. Okay. And I understand what frustrates me so much is that, when you're offering people things like, taking away SNAP benefits and I was telling them to go to like, food, like I've been to food banks before. Okay. I've only been to one. And that was the last time I will never step into one again. Okay. Because I understand when you think about homeless people that come off the street and they're trying to get food to replenish their body, they're not going to get the proper nutrients they need. Okay, they're not. And yes, I do care about the agricultural system. I do care about people having, food that they're supposed to eat. These people were acting as if, oh, your food is luxurious. This is the only food you're supposed to. This is the natural food that grows out of the ground. This food is from God. Okay, agriculture is from God. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is something about me wearing my brand. Yes, Donald Trump, it is my brand. Okay, and like I said, I'm willing for you. I mean, I understand this whole issue with the shadow channel. Kick the Collins and kick everyone else out. Okay, if you want to man my channel, the White House man my channel, have control over my channel, because eventually one day I will not be here. So I mean, you guys can have my channel, okay, and you can put it in your historic files because I am a paranormal wonder, okay. But I'm just saying is that the country needs to be put back together to where it looks like it's a respectable nation again. Okay, I'm sorry, but I really do like who you are, but this is not working. This isn't working. Okay, it's not working. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Okay, I mean, I understand. I appreciate you as a president. I think that you are a very charismatic person, but I don't know exactly what I mean, I do believe maybe you may have been following the instructions of people who have caused you to make bad mistakes. Okay, and I do feel as though the country is a place that it's like it's not like it doesn't feel like the country that I remember. You know what I mean? And as far as this issue of what's going on here with me, you know what I mean? I am tired of waking up in the morning and feeling like I have nothing to look forward to because of these stupid people. Okay, and this is what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to commit suicide, is what they wanted me to do. Okay, they knew good and well, and they collaborated with my son to get information from him so that he would bring it back to him. He trusted these people. He trusted these people. Okay, so there's a lot of genocide attitudes that go on with religious people, and they enact it out in public sector. Okay, and I do believe, and like I said, I understand what the narrative is on the news reports and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, Donald Trump, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Okay, and I'm not going to sit here and break out my tarot cards to read it because I don't want to. I don't want to know just how bad this country is. Okay, because really, it's already difficult for me to wake up in the morning. It really is. It's horrible, and I'm not the only person who feels this way. So anyway, something about you're expecting to have extravagant. Yes, I would like to meet you, Donald Trump. I really would. I would like to meet you. I'd like to meet all the people in the White House. And I think you understand that what I'm telling you about my story, I think that you've seen my story unfold. Okay, I do believe that you've seen my story unfold. Okay, and it seems as though that the Collins family maybe have exaggerated or whatever, and I don't really think that that's important. I'm just saying is our country needs improvements. Okay, it needs improvements, and maybe you weren't even aware of it or whatever. But and I'm not saying that when it comes to the issue of people being here illegally, there's got to be some sort of process where these people can get. If they need to get some sort of assistance to get legal their paperwork or whatever, but our agriculture cannot fall apart. Our agriculture can't fall apart. It just can't. Okay, I mean, and people need to have access to real food, not when I went to a food bank, they were giving out, seriously, they're giving people cakes, like bakery cakes that were stale from like stores, canned goods, and like I said, some Mormon people brought some canned goods to me, and I told my son, it's like I understand what these people are trying to do. They were trying to prevent me from buying the kind of food that I usually buy, which I usually buy the same stuff. Okay, I usually buy grapes. Okay, cheese. Okay, I have stomach problems. I don't go to the doctor because I know that I'm a targeted individual. I don't go there. Okay, canned goods, there's sometimes I'll use canned goods, like maybe there might be a casserole that I want to make, and a little bit of cream of mushroom or some cream of celery, you add that in there, throw some potatoes on top, it's quite easy to make, so I do make use of some canned goods, okay, but I do not believe that people should eat primarily canned goods, okay, and I don't think that what food banks have to offer is of any nutritional value, okay. I think that SNAP benefits assisted. I don't know how that works. I've never seen like the accounting of how these programs work. Okay, but all I know is that I don't trust what's going on in the community. I don't trust my own community. I don't trust the people who were involved in my targeting. Okay, which included all the employers as well as the Collins family. I choose to be completely detached from the Collins family. They are not going to. I do not want them to be associated with anything. Okay, like I said, if you want to man my YouTube channel, I would be very happy if you did. Okay, that's my gift to you. Okay, so you can remember Maria Gordon forever and ever, ever, and you want to. I'm just kidding, but anyway, I'm using humor because this is a serious message. Okay, but I mean, I want to see the country to flourish. I want the country to be rich in its resources, and it just feels so dark. It feels very dark in this country. Okay. And I think a lot of it is because of these underground crime syndicates doing these sort of manipulative type stuff. Okay. And what I'm asking for is I want to go to work. I want to go to work. And I know some people are probably talking. I know people are talking about this whole issue about the Vladimir Putin thing or whatever. But and I know they minimize my serious issues with talks of being a couple or whatever. Whether Vladimir Putin existed or not. Okay, Maria needs to get to work. Okay, Maria's not happy being at home. She's not happy at being home. Okay, and like I wake up in the morning and I feel like I need to work. Okay, I have to work. I don't like my son coming home and feeling like his paycheck is not worth anything. Like I remember there was a time where I had to pay like a bunch of bills like back to back, right? And I got my paycheck and it was like, okay, after I paid all of this stuff, I had like $30 left, and it was like, that's demoralizing. Okay, I understand everything that I went through. I don't want my son to have to experience. Okay, and I know sometimes that's impossible. You have to do it. Okay, but to assign my son the responsibility, these people had no right to put that burden on him. I have worked my entire life to make sure that my son would never have to have a burden. Okay, because I know that this world is crap. It's crap. Okay, it's crap, and I'm aware of it. And the one thing I didn't want the United States to ever resemble was the crap that other countries would experience. I really didn't want that to happen, but it feels like it. It feels like it. It feels like it in every phone call. It feels like it when you go to the store. It feels like it when you watch the news. It feels like darkness. And I had noticed that a lot of people were making comments about this before all of this stuff started happening. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. And I don't really play an active role in politics because I honestly thought, you know, why would I? You know what I mean? Because it seems like my life was completely different than everyone else's, and I accepted that. Okay, I was born that way. So, I figure as long as these laws were in place, I was fine. I didn't realize that we lived in such an ignorant society. That people literally do not, like, I literally had to break down the definition of stealing. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is I am successful. You are a successful writer known for the Blessings Quarterly newsletter. Exactly. I want to make sure the Collins have nothing to do with that. Okay, at all. Okay, and something about me shopping and acquiring. You know what, President Trump? Everybody has to shop and acquire more. Okay, if we don't shop and acquire more, then our economy goes to crap. So, like when people sit here and talk about, she's going out and shop, I understand. Like there's a certain thing where some people can be looked upon as materialistic to where it's disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, some people are compulsive buyers. They don't really need anything. But I will say that I have a very humble home. I mean, most of the stuff that I have in my house are either homemade, it's used. Um, I go to thrift stores, the 99-cent store. I mean, when the night, can you do something about bringing back the 99-cent store? Can you really? The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that a lot of these women who orchestrated this are humiliated. They should be. Okay. And they know that they're failures in their profession. And yes, Donald Trump, these people are dangerous to society. They are dangerous to society. They should not have these positions. Okay. So if they, and blacklisting is illegal in the state of California. I believe it's probably blacklisting is illegal everywhere, really. Why? Because everybody who is a citizen in the United States is entitled to seek employment. Okay. But at the same time, would I want to give a job to somebody who I know who has these sort of tendencies to bully people? Do I want to hire somebody who has a history of psychologically abusing somebody for 12 consecutive years, knowing that this person was going through this sort of trauma? These sort of people, I do believe certain penalties should be stiffer in this country, Donald Trump. Okay, I think that we should bring back public executions for things that are this serious. I'm not kidding. Okay, people who want to initiate things like human trafficking, gang stalking, and causing people to, I'm a strong minded person, so no, I'm not going to sit here and lose my mind and go crazy, okay? What I'm saying is, most people are. These COINTEL programs are meant to make people go crazy, kill themselves, end up institutionalized, or something along those lines. And so, since people want to play those sort of games, people need to be made an example of. They need to be made an example of. So these, to me, these sort of serious crimes like this, yes, I believe in bringing back public executions. I know it sounds like, oh, well, because Maria's like, I'm into Hello Kitty. I'm into anything that's cute and girly. How dare I? It sounds very masculine, but when it comes to people who are evil, I don't have any compassion for them. I don't have any compassion for them. Okay. So anyway, Yes, I do support people who choose to, people want to go to church, people want to have their religion and everything like that. What I'm talking targeting is more so like fake religion. Okay, I'm talking about the cults that use religion as an excuse. Okay, and that's what I'm focusing on. These people they don't want to really earn their paycheck. They want to play games all day at work, sending emails about who they don't like. They want to bring in people for fake job interviews. They want to sit here and connect, or conduct fake interviews just so they can sit here and be a part of the popular cloud. They're not productive people. Okay, I care about my job. I care about the quality of my work. Okay, and I honestly do gain fulfillment in it. I feel as though that's the way true balance is. Okay, these people create nothing but chaos, and I mean that when I say, I think it would be uh, okay, yeah, the public execution thing, I am all for it. I'm all for it. People want to initiate these sort of bullying tactics. The thing is like these people do this kind of stuff knowing that other people have a family to feed. They know that these people have responsibilities. They know that some of these people are, they might be attacking people. Like this one lady, she had cancer. Okay, she was talking about her being cancer. They just upped the harassment tactics. Okay, some of these people have hatred for targeted individuals to the point of where it's just absolutely disgusting. So we have these like demons frothing at the mouth doing these sort of things, and it's very hard for them to stop. This is one of the reasons why I kept making a point. Like, these people, I'm trying to logic with you, use logic relating to, religion. I'm using religion, laws relating to, the laws that we're supposed to abide by here. And that just upped the ante. They think it's all a joke. So, this is what I'm saying. Okay, if these people who participate in human trafficking, they should be arrested. And once it should be acknowledged that they do this for the long term. So I personally feel as though they don't even deserve a trial. They get arrested for gang stalking or human trafficking. They know they initiated it. They should be put in front of a firing squad. In front of a firing squad. Period. Bring back the firing squad and bring it back in every state. Anybody who wants to be brave enough to initiate this sort of stuff, they need to die for it. Now, anyway, yes, I think I've talked about my compensation. You know what I mean? And like I said, these people have a very warped mind. Okay, they feel as though I kid you not. They feel as though that they are entitled to wreck your stuff, and because they disagree with your lifestyle, that they're not accountable for replacing it. That is the very foundation of what a hate crime is built on. I can destroy your stuff, and because you're in disagreement with me or you're different than me, I don't have to take accountability for it. So, yeah, for these sort of people who have allowed themselves to be mentally ill, that mentally ill, these people really need to go. People who think it's okay to destroy other people's property and they don't care about taking any accountability for it, yeah, that's a problem. That's a huge problem, okay? And the problem with it is that not only do they want to sit here and destroy your finances, they want to ruin your reputation. Okay, the very fact that those two combinations, that right there exist, okay? They want to ruin you financially and they want to ruin your reputation, so they spread it around so that people will not give you opportunities. They should be tried for attempted murder, okay? And that's exactly what I'm saying. This is a very serious issue. Okay, so when this stuff goes on in the workplace, they should lose their jobs immediately. That's why I'm talking about people like auditing people's like emails, and God forbid they conduct this sort of nonsense on company time, like company emails, writing out company emails, playing games, these sort of games on company time, using the company cell phones to do these sort of things. Okay, to track their little targets and play these sort of games. Okay, you're not supposed to get paid for genocide, and this is what these people do. Okay, I'm tired of it. I am so tired of it. So yeah, I didn't mean to like, bark at my son this morning. It's just that, you know what? I'm frustrated and I feel like, and he's like, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay, mom. But my brain spins out of control. You know why? Because I'm going to spend another week here not having a job, pacing around my house, and there's nothing else for me to do until I get to work. And I only want to work. Okay, and no, it has nothing to do with about. I would be saying the same thing whether Vladimir Putin existed or not. Okay, he is darn cute though. Okay, so the intuitive message I'm getting right now is that autumn leads to winter, and both seasons promise more improvements. We shall see about that. You know, I really don't want to have to deal with, like, I know that these people are so evil. Like, they have screwed my Christmases. They don't celebrate Christmases themselves, so they just made it so that they want to screw my Christmas. I have not had a Christmas tree in so long. I haven't put up lights in years. I haven't done anything. Okay? And that's not even my fault. Imagine having being in a life where somebody wants to decide your every move. Somebody wants to control your money. They want to control you. They want to control your actions. Okay, I hate these people. The Collins family. Okay, I personally think they should be the first people to be put in front of a firing squad. And if Rashawn didn't blow his brains out by now, they should be throwing him in there too. You know what I mean? I know that's pretty rough for me to say, but anyway, I'm glad you acknowledge. Oh, and I'm glad that you know that I'm telling the truth. Okay, I'm telling the truth. Okay, but anyway, and I do acknowledge you acknowledge the fact that I do live a peaceful life, and so this is why I'm saying this is one of the reasons why I could not find the kind of contentment uh, within like organized religion, because there's too many people who are just human. You know what I mean? They choose to not, apply spiritual principles or try to want to aim for self improvement. Like, I talked about coveting yesterday, or was it the day before? Whatever. Anyway, every day is pretty much the same in my life, and this is why I get so irritated. But anyway, when it comes to things like coveting, this is where these women have this issue. They're jealous of me. They're jealous of my skills. They're jealous of who I am as a person. And instead of trying to improve themselves, which is what they should do, okay, if these women need to improve themselves, okay, and take accountability for their own lives. And the only way you cannot covet is if you find some sort of contentment. So it's their responsibility to find contentment in their lives. It's my responsibility to find contentment in my life, so I don't sit here and covet. You know what I mean? Like, I could sit here and covet Halle Berry's face, and yeah, I do. I mean, I wish I did look like Halle Berry, right? But I don't. Oh well, tough noogies, right? So I have to make the best of what I have, and that's what I do. I make the best of what I have, and these people want to come and they want to tear me apart for it. That's their responsibility to get themselves in shape. It's not mine. Okay. So I'm tired of paying the price for irresponsible people. Okay. It's bullies. Childhood bullying in school needs to be addressed. Parents need to be educated on how their children are supposed to be conduct themselves. Okay. And there are signs of seeing if kids are going to be growing up to be like, pathological liars, or, psychopaths or whatever. People need to pay attention to their kids. And yes, parents should be responsible for their children's actions. Okay. Because a lot of those bullies that were I knew back in Lancaster in my school days are the same bullies who destroyed my career. Okay, it's like getting people in check. Okay, their sort of attitude needs to be acknowledged in like grade school or whatever. And I have thought about what happens if you have like my father recognized in Rashawn that something was wrong with him. Okay, that's why he threw him out of the house. He threw him out of the house when he was a teenager because he understood that my brother, he saw the evil in my brother. He understood that my brother was willing to let other people suffer for the stuff that he did, and that's sick. Okay, just like my brother was willing to let you sit here and take the hate for what he did. He ended up creating a lot of this frenzy, and he was fine. He probably watched the stuff that was going on TV and watched all these other people. Some of these people ended up dead, and he was probably just sitting there with that cool, calm look on his face, like, whatever. Sean's crazy, and so you got to beware about certain people that you talk to, Mr. Trump, because Donald Trump, because there's a lot of people who in society who are not mentally well. Okay, there's a lot of mentally ill people in society, which you can see. I mean, the people who participate in this stuff, they're not mentally ill. They're I would consider them mentally ill. If you understand that this innocent person does not deserve this, but you continually you badger them, you participate in human trafficking, you allow these people to suffer the consequences of what they didn't do, then people who are participating in this and they know all this are mentally ill. They should not be a part of society. Okay, look how vast this sort of stuff is. Okay, mental illness runs through society rapidly. It really does. And the fact that a lot of people do not have a moral system, either that should be supplied mainly by their parents because they don't have one either. And their church system, it seems like the church system is encouraging people to enact violence on people, especially if they're sitting here aiming all this nonsense out at clones. So people need education. Okay, real education in the school system, and educate and adults who are existing right now need to have formal education. Well, they could be better. Like, I talked about making some sort of education system. Like, if perhaps people could get together and do like skits, like comedy skits on how to funny things, like but make it humorous or entertaining enough for people to watch it. You know what I mean? Like lessons on how to behave, behavioral lessons. How to handle things like understanding manners, etiquette. How to use common sense. And I believe, I'm sure you could see that a lot of people don't know this sort of stuff, but through certain educational programs, they can, and they should not be tedious, because I know people resent stuff like that. So this is why I was talking about, okay, like people, like I mentioned Elon Musk, I mentioned certain people who could be a part of that, like maybe some political leaders, maybe you yourself. Okay, I saw you. There was one skit I saw on a YouTube thing. I didn't watch the video, but you had a mustache on. I don't know if it was AI or maybe you were actually doing like a skit, a comedy skit or something. Those things could be funny. Okay, but not only can they be funny, they can make sense, and they could make an impact, a difference. You know what I mean? Like uh, uh, through humor, through humor. You know what I mean? Understanding how to behave, and teaching people behavioral lessons and of manners and etiquette through comedy or through PSAs, like public service announcements. I know it's as silly as it is, but it could be fun, but it can also be educational, and it can make a difference. And this is what I'm saying. It's like I wish I could find people who want to do these things, and hoping that I can meet you one day and we can do something fun like that. And I know I'm getting recognized for my angelic nature. I do think that people may have spoken to you about me practicing, arts, like maybe being magical or whatever. Well, you can expect that from an angel, okay? If I was had the ability to do, a lot of them, I think some of it's, exaggerated. Like, I pray for my protection, and that's pretty much the extent of it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I wanted to air out my frustration. Be careful about who you communicate with. A lot of people are very autocratic, meaning like, people may have suggested to make changes in this country based on using religion, but really it could have very well been just a bunch of overweight girls who want to bully women who take care of themselves. It's more a selfish issue, more so than them being concerned about the well-being of the country. Okay. And so obviously, when people make decisions in a country, it should be widespread. It should be beneficial to everybody, right? It should be something that's going to enhance the life of everyone, and not be at the detriment of anyone else. So how do you like? And I know that I've already like thought about issues relating to the white race, which I did address. I know I bring up some weird issues, right? Okay, because that's what I was born to do. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that yes, I have the divine right to kill people who I want to. Okay, but no, I'm not talking about me attacking white people. I'm talking about, I understand that the white people we're talking about, not having enough people in their whatever pre-production problems and stuff like that. So I talk about that, okay, those sort of issues. And really, I'm not somebody who attacks races or anything like that. I am somebody who just literally, I just want to chill out and be relaxed. I don't want to do anything. All I care about is peace. Okay, so obviously, if white people are though trying to attack me or any other person, it's probably because they find some sort of dissatisfaction in their life. So what they need to do is they need to be satisfied. So the only way they can be satisfied is to do something with their life. And they have to feel like they have the ability to do so. Okay, I do understand that there's some authority ops are on my side. I do, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the feds, I guess, maybe doing an investigation here or whatever. I just want peace. And yeah, I've always thought, I've always liked you, Donald Trump. I'm just saying is I'm acknowledging how things can get out of control in a country based on people and their little special preferences, and then using other people to promote their own agendas. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so I think you understand that I'm somebody who does not like to create a ruckus. Oh, I do think you understand that I do like fashion. I do like fashion. And something about yeah. Okay, yeah, I do like fashion. I do. I I think it's pretty much the only thing that is, it's really the only thing that I care about at this point in my life. Okay, like I honestly, I do not have an interest in dealing with people. They have shown a very negative side to themselves. I feel as though I'm more comfortable by myself, so I have to be able to entertain myself and find things that continually keep me to hang on. And these people, because of this network was trying to force me into suicide because they were trying to remove the things that I care about. Okay, and they went too far. Okay, so when it comes to the Collins family, this Jehovah's Witness group, and the rest of the community that is creating all these bullying tactics, it needs to be addressed. Okay, I'm tired of dealing with it. In the meantime, will continue to look for work, but I did need to release my frustration, and I'm tired of people, dumping on my son. I want to make sure that my son is protected. Okay, I'm sorry that he ever knew my ex boyfriend, Bruce Collins. I'm sorry he ever got a chance. I wish my parents, my mother, okay, if my mother would have just listened to what I said, okay, but she just had to sit here and take her digs at me. What I'm saying is that if people listened and followed the law the way that it's written, okay, it's not cumbersome, it's not difficult, unless of course you have a criminal mind. If people have the ability to have talents or they have skills or whatever, then they need to build an honest life. They need to build an honest life. Okay, and that's what I've been doing. Okay, and so I feel as though that's what everyone else should do as well. And I would say, why I was making the moral reset, which is very similar to the human targets video. Like the human targets video that I made, I that was actually extracted from the bulk of the videos that I already made. Okay, and I have not released any of those. I want to do something with those. Okay, but I haven't done anything with them. And like I said, I've been blocked by all these people. I talked about me wanting to present my ideas to this Department of Education. Yes, someone like me, an autodidact, wanting to do that. Why? Because I feel as though I have better learning methods than what these people have. And I also feel as though it's not just, like I said, it's not just children that need education, it's the adults. It's like we need a complete reset of, what adults don't know, which is a lot. They need to be brought up to speed because this new generation of kids going to school need to have an understanding of what's going to be expected for them to have better lives. Okay, and so somehow or another, it somehow would straighten out the country and the world, if other people were interested in adapting to this system. So, I was blocked. I never got any accommodations. We had a lot of this Christian bullying, that called Christian bullying, that was going on, making it sure that I was going to be rejected. No one was supposed to talk to me. And who was initiating all this was the Collins, as well as people like Alita, Mary Landucci, all of these people. They had no right to do that. Okay. I'm glad that something about me having the right. I don't know if some of these people are dead or not. Let me see. Okay, everyone knows that I do not want any relationships with the people that I used to know. I don't, and I'm very glad that they know this. Wow. Something about me and what I initiate usually ends up instantly, and that people miss the childhood. I think my son feels, sad. He feels very sad because of all of this. You know what I mean? All because of the stupid Collins. And I wish that this never happened. And also, something about me something about the new world order. People do support it, and I'm glad they are. I think a lot of people had a misunderstanding of what it is. I do believe that what my discovery of who I was is a part of the biblical prophecy of coming to realize who we are, so that we can finally go home. Meaning, like, we can make the decision to go to heaven. I have made the decision to go to heaven. I don't want to come back here. Especially to think that, poor CB Berganza, like, he was always trying to find stability. He was being chased from one state to another. I did a reading on him. He was like Ohio. He'd go to South Dakota. He'd go to Massachusetts. He'd go to all these places. And I'm like, my goodness, he was just bouncing all over the place. All because of these so-called Christian people harassing him. During the time that CB Berganza was here, I mean, throughout, I would say, since the United States was formulated, we were supposed to have freedom of religion still. So back then, we still had these weirdos acting as if, CB Berganza was supposed to be whipped in line. And he was like, okay, he never got any rest. Okay, here I am, 54 years old, and I'm dealing with the same continuation of people, creating problems for me. Okay, and they don't have the right to. So anyway, finally getting off this video. I'm going to wrap it up, and I will probably be talking to you later on another video sometime. Take care.